Hello, hello, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Agent Secrets live presentation. Happy to see you all here. I can see everyone's coming on into our session. Awesome. And okay, pretty good group with us today. That's great to see. I do want to share some really amazing things that I've discovered in the last couple of weeks using AI specifically for content creation. And that really is the purpose of this whole series. So this is part two of a four-part series. Now, 2 weeks ago, we did a session on how to use AI to write descriptions, right, for listings or for real estate related products. Today, we are going to delve into how to use AI to elevate the most important thing that you're selling, which is you. You are the brand. And to really hit that home, I'm going to show you a way to use these tools to really help you develop content that is very unique and specific to your voice. Okay? It's pretty cool stuff. I'm actually quite excited about it. So let's get into it. And I encourage you to ask questions. We've got Sobia and Rob on the call today. They're keeping an eye on the chat. And of course, we'll be able to answer any questions that you put into the chat. I'll also keep an eye on the chat as well. And then hopefully we can get all of those answered. Otherwise, just keep your eyes glued onto my screen because I'm going to be showing you some very specific prompts and things that will help you to develop your voice profile. So today we're discussing the personal brand builder, AI for agent positioning. And this is going to be geared specifically towards realtors because that's who we work with, that's who you are. But this can actually work for any type of brand. I've done it for myself. I'll demonstrate later what kind of results I got when I started plugging this information in. And then you can do it as well. And if this is your first webinar with us, if you've not been to one of our Agent Secrets presentations, that's amazing. Welcome. My name is Christy. I've been with Success Website for over 23 years. I've worked with and managed thousands of individual real estate accounts. I've worked specifically with paid ad campaigns for large and small teams. And just in the last few years, I've really sort of started to pivot and focus more on the content marketing side of things because I find that if you are just focusing on generating generic, less branded leads, it's a tall hill to climb. Okay, converting those leads can be very hard because you have to start building that brand recognition right from the get-go. Whereas if you generate leads from your content, from your brand marketing, they're much easier to convert and they have a smaller sales cycle, shorter sales cycle. And it gains so much more for you in terms of how you're perceived in the marketplace. I think you'd all agree that to be a local expert in your marketplace is extremely valuable, to be perceived that way. Now, you may be that. I have no doubt you're all experts, but does the broader audience know that? Have you been able to successfully convey that to your community where you have people coming to you and saying, Bill, I got your newsletter and it really spoke to what I've been thinking. I've been looking at moving to this neighborhood, or can you tell me more about this subdivision, or can you explain to me what's happening in the market? Those are the types of questions that you want people coming to you for. So you're not chasing people down. But in order to start building up that momentum, you have to be putting unique, valuable, personalized, and localized content out. Okay, you have to be putting it out there and creating it, which up until all of these Chat GPT LLM models came out, that was hard. There were agencies that were charging major money to do that. And now it's super easy to do. So it's exciting. I'm excited because I am a geek and I love technology. And I also really understand the real estate industry and how tough it is, how much competition is out there. But I also understand that usually, if somebody is very strong in sales, they're not necessarily that strong in the technical skills, right? You may not be that comfortable creating systems and content and putting stuff on your website and all of that. So we've always played a very strong role in that, in terms of helping our clients do that and execute their plans and make sure that the content is getting published, is getting out there. We have a whole content accelerator program that is all focused on this. Maybe Sobia can post a link, or Rob can post a link in the chat for that. But we also have a lot of content available. I'm just going to go back for a sec. If you have not yet been to our blog or our YouTube channel or our Instagram page, take a look at these resources, and maybe Rob or Sobia can post some links to those as well. Our blog has, I don't know how many videos in there that we've done throughout the years. In fact, you'll see in my training how I used some of that content to create my voice profile. So I have to say that, as much as I love seeing all of you every week in the chat and knowing that you're here, the fact that I do this every week for an hour each week has been extremely beneficial, right? That exercise of creating this content every single week has given us, given Success Website, and given me the opportunity to like create all sorts of different content pieces from the webinars that we do, from the live training that we do. So by demonstrating things, by showing people how to do things, I have been able to I've been able to multiply the content by, I don't even know. It's exponential, right? So that is something that we can certainly work towards, is what can you do today to build into your schedule a time when you can work on your content. Now, some of you are visual people, right? Maybe you like to um, put things together visually. Maybe you like to talk, right? You're a talker. So like maybe having a session where you're giving like an online seminar, or you're just talking to your camera for 30 minutes. Maybe that would be the content that you can create. Or maybe you like the written form. Either way, written form is easy because you can use ChatGPT and Claude and other LLMs to produce that content for you. But if you do like video and you're creating those videos, make sure you're using a method that gives you the transcripts, because you can take those transcripts and then turn those into other pieces of content. So anyhow, just some food for thought, but let's get into it. Okay, the agent who became the brand. Now, if you go into our blog, into Agent Secrets, you'll see that I've done a fair number of interviews with agents. And one thing that I would say is consistent between all of these clients who've been with us for many, many years, who I've gotten to know very, very well throughout the years, they are authorities in their marketplace. Uh, they've built up a client base, for one, and they've also built up, I would say, a reputation of being a local expert. One person that comes to mind is George Moorhead. He is out in Seattle, in the Seattle area, and he was a firefighter, became an agent, grew a team, and has consistently put out content every week to educate his audience on what's happening in the market. He does fun little contests. He has all sorts of preferred vendors that he reaches out to, and he'll often interview them. He actually has a whole preferred vendor list that he shares with people. So he's constantly in that, I would say, sharing mentality where it's all about reciprocation, right? The more you give, the more you get. And by doing that, he's completely been able to shift from just being the guy that sells houses, just being the realtor in the area, to he is the trusted advisor, right? People know his name. They call him. He's in that top 10% of agents in his market. So the top 10% of agents, they have a personal brand. Okay? They don't just have business cards. They actually have a personal brand. And you can all fall into that category. Everyone on this call, everyone watching this, you can all do this. So let's look at some of the ways that we can make this super easy. Part one, the authority positioning framework. Why personal brand equals market dominance. Trust. People trust people, not companies. Okay, people buy from people, not companies. So if you really want to gain more trust, you want to sell yourself. Okay, you're not selling Remax, you're not selling EXP. I mean, who cares what brokerage you're with? It's you. Okay, you're the one that people are going to want to buy from, and you're the one that they trust. The expert premium. Branded agents command 15 to 30% higher commissions. They can charge a premium for being the expert. And the referral multiplier. Strong brands generate passive lead flow. Those are where all those referrals come from. People who have known you, trusted you, liked you, they're way more likely to refer you. It's definitely a recurring theme that comes up during these sessions is how to build up your referral business, some of the best business you can generate. And the more people know who you are and trust you, the more likely you are to generate those referrals. So there's three pillars of agent authority. One, consistent voice. They recognize your style, they recognize your tone, you have consistency. Valuable expertise. They learn something every time. Something that I hope happens every time that we're on a session together is that you're learning something. And then authentic connection. They feel like they know you. So you don't want to hold back on your personality. You know, if you're a really loud, gregarious person, to be that person. You know, if you're a little bit shy, you're a little bit subdued, that's okay. Just be you, right? They're going to know you for you. The the important thing is you just have to be consistent and offer valuable expertise. If you can check those two boxes, it's all good. You don't have to you definitely don't want to be something that you're not. Okay? That's not going to be helpful. It's too hard for one. It requires too much effort, and it's probably not going to work out well for you. So be you, but be consistent and offer valuable expertise. Someone who came up when I was putting this together is he is you may know him if you're familiar with entrepreneurship. Gary Vanderchuck, otherwise known as Gary V. He has really been, I would say, very strong when it comes to content creation. You can find him on YouTube. He's got all sorts of content out there. So he's been very prolific in posting on all the different channels. But what makes him a good example here is he is very consistent, and his voice and his tone is just unmistakably him, right? He's very energetic. He swears a little bit. Sometimes he is very sarcastic, right? Like he definitely has a tone, but his audience, they like him, they trust him, and that is why they pay attention to him. And they also feel like he's offering valuable content. So, how does Gary maintain voice across all these platforms? So, his particular brand voice has the following elements. He's very direct. Okay, he doesn't believe in corporate speak. Straight talk is how he likes to communicate. He does use profanity, strategic use of curse words to emphasize. Of course, you don't have to copy this. It's not your thing. Never been my thing. Okay, but that's what he does. He also uses empathy and accountability. So, saying things like, I care about you, but stop making excuses. Pattern interrupts, so sudden shifts in tone or unexpected statements, recurring phrases, uh, and energy level, very high intensity, passionate, and perspective. Long term thinking, patience, hustle, balance. Now, AI actually created this. So I don't know if Gary would say these are all the things that make his voice unique. He may agree, he may disagree. But from the content that's out there, this is what Gary's brand voice looks like. And it's probably pretty accurate. From what I know of this particular person, it is quite accurate. So, the AI voice consistency system. Step one is to create the master voice profile. To do this, what you want to do is use this prompt that I'm looking at right now. And you can find these prompts in whatever you're using, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, whatever it is you're using. Usually the prompts have to be structured a certain way, but what we're doing here is we're asking AI to analyze these 10 pieces of my best content. So paste your top performing posts, videos, or emails. Now, I tested this a little bit and I tried pasting in YouTube links to videos. Had a very hard time processing that. So you may want to use transcripts from your videos, I would say, recordings. Text is going to probably be the easiest for AI to actually analyze. Okay, so keep that in mind. But if you have 10 pieces, or you just have 5 pieces, or you have 3 pieces, whatever it is, you can just specify that in the prompt. And then what you want to extract from that is sentence structure patterns, words and phrases, how I open and close content, tone spectrum, topics that I'm passionate about, how I handle disagreement or controversial topics, storytelling style. These are all things that you can have AI extract from that document. And that will do a pretty good job of creating a detailed voice profile that you can use. So if you were to imagine using Gary's voice profile, but like as a real estate equivalent. So just imagine you're known for directness. Now here's what nobody's telling you about buying right now. Like listen up. Okay, this is what you need to know. Market realism, balancing optimism with honest market conditions. Client empowerment, teaching buyers sellers to be informed, not just trusting blindly. Local pride, a deep knowledge and genuine love for your community, and maybe find some reoccurring phrases. Right house, right time, right price. Let's talk real estate numbers, right? AI may be able to extract some of those reoccurring phrases that you typically use and point those out to you, right? Maybe you should be using them more. Maybe you should be leaning into that to to really establish consistency in your voice. Now, step two is once we have this voice profile, okay, so that's step one. But step two is the content repurposing machine. So this is where you can really start to generate a lot of very useful content that you can share across all platforms. So typically what happens, and this is sort of what we do, is Gary records a 60-minute video podcast every week. And from that, his team creates 8 to 10 YouTube clips, 30 plus social media posts, blog article transcripts, quote graphics, audiogram clips for audio platforms, email newsletter content. So there's a lot of content that comes just from that 60-minute video. And it probably used to take his team a whole week to do that. Whereas now we have a way of doing it within minutes, which is amazing. So the AI repurposing workflow for real estate, you want to practice the same thing. Okay, you want to do something once. So host a 30-minute video where you discuss current market conditions. Maybe you're answering client questions or you're touring a neighborhood. Maybe you're just talking about the market. Maybe you're talking to one of your preferred vendors. But think about, what is that content going to be? Video is very easy to do because it's very immediate. It really puts you on the spot to create something. It also is very good at showing your personality. So having a video, I think, is a great way to capture your master content, right? That's the big piece of content that you're going to use and repurpose. Just make sure that you have a transcript from that video. And it's very easy to get transcripts these days. There's all sorts of software and things that you can use for that. Zoom, gives you a transcript, I believe, at when it records your Zoom meetings. I think you can get a transcript through Google Meet, right? If you're hosting a Google Meet, you can turn on the Gemini summarize tool and it will record everything for you. So actually, just occurred to me that would be a great way to use this. Let's say you're meeting with a client or you're doing a listing presentation online and you're using Google Meet or you're using Zoom. Make sure you record it. Turn on that note taker, right? That's what's going to give you all of that really dense text that you wouldn't know what to do with, but AI definitely does know what to do with that. So yeah, that should be the number one, is make sure you're creating some content every week. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you're creating. It's just something that you're doing. Just make sure you're documenting the things that you're doing. And then once you've done that, you can use a prompt series that is similar to this. So you can basically tell AI, I've recorded 30-minute video about ... Here's the transcript. Using my voice profile, okay, so you put in your voice profile, extract and create a LinkedIn post, 3 short form video scripts, 5 Twitter or X or Threads posts, 1 email newsletter section, 10 Instagram story slide ideas. Okay, so that's a lot of content that would be created, but that's what will happen. Okay, it'll create all that content for you. And then it's just a question of now compiling it, putting it together. But you won't have to come up with anything from scratch. It'll all be mapped out for you. Now, step 3 is platform specific voice adaptation. So Gary sounds like Gary everywhere, but he adapts his delivery for each platform culture. Okay, I'm sure you would agree that each platform has its own vibe, it has its own culture. Some may be better fitted for your business, better fitted for real estate. LinkedIn, for instance, is kind of a perfect platform for business focused professionals, right? It's longer form, always has a professional context. It is definitely a place where people go to find professionals. TikTok, totally different, right? Completely different platform. People go there for different reasons. They go there to be entertained. So you want something that's higher energy, faster paced, like really short clips, perfect for somebody who's just scrolling through and watching things for a couple of seconds. And then there's the Twitter X crowd, right, which is usually a little bit punchier, more controversial, perhaps, rapid fire thoughts, that type of thing. Instagram, visual storytelling, lifestyle integration, also an excellent media outlet for real estate. Absolutely, because it's very visual. People love looking at pictures of houses and neighborhoods and even you on camera, right? They eat that stuff up. So Instagram is great. YouTube, of course, right? YouTube is just like the ultimate for getting educational content, searchable content, deeper dives, doing research. So that is an absolute must is having that content on YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube channel, and I'll encourage you, and I'm sure, I'm hopefully Rob or Sobia post a link to our YouTube channel in the chat, but go there and like our channel, please, or like some of our content. It gives us a big boost, right, when that happens. And there's a lot of really great content on there. So you want to make sure that the content that you're creating, which may be coming from like a 30-minute presentation that you do, is being repurposed and adapted for these different channels because they all have different audiences, they all have sort of a different tone, and you want to make sure that you're fitting in with that. And sometimes you may choose not to post on certain platforms because it's just not a good fit for what you're doing. You don't have to post on everything. You could certainly pick one or two and just be really consistent with that. So here's just a example of a prompt, right, that you could put in for the platform adaptation, and you would have very specific instructions for each and every platform, as you can see here. So the what I'm really trying to say is you're going to be much more successful with this if you adopt the document, don't create philosophy. Okay? Just start to think about how can I document what I am doing on a day-to-day basis? How can I document the meetings that I'm having? How can I document the conversations that I'm having? How can I document the research that I'm doing? All of those things you should start to document because that's what you can turn into content. And that's also what you can use to develop your voice profile. So a lot of people, they just get totally bogged down in this idea that I don't know what to create. Like somebody give me some content and I'll post it. I don't have any ideas. I don't want to come up with that stuff. I'm not a creative person. That's nonsense. Everyone is creative, okay? You're all creative in your own way. You all have stories to tell. You all have expertise. You all have things you talk about on a daily basis, things that you teach people. Think about the people that you train or mentor or some of the buyers and sellers that you've helped over the years. That's really great content. So this is not about creating fancy stuff. It's about taking what you're already doing, documenting it, and then repurposing it. So Gary's approach, I'm already doing things worth documenting. Now I just want to record what's happening. So his daily documentation, just to give you some ideas, what he does is he documents his morning thoughts while drinking his coffee. Okay, so he'll jot down some things. Maybe he'll put them on Twitter, but he is making notes maybe about what his thoughts are in the morning, first thing in the morning. If he has client calls where he's giving advice, he's absolutely recording that. And maybe he is repurposing those conversations for LinkedIn because it's that type of giving advice to other professionals. That's what works really well within LinkedIn. Office brainstorming sessions. When he is in his office with his team having brainstorming sessions, they're recording it, right? And they'll put that on YouTube and people like watching it. It's not, it's not professionally produced and edited, but people like to hear those brainstorming sessions. And that gets a lot of views for his channel. Event attendance. So if he's hosting an event, maybe he'll have lots of pictures of that event and he'll be posting that on Instagram. And book reading insights. So whenever he reads a book, he likes to do a full summary of that book, what his insights are, and he will turn that into a blog post, right? So these are all ways that he is essentially documenting the things that he's already doing for himself or for his team, and then using it for content that's going to be appropriate on a very specific channel. So, how do you adapt this? Document, don't create for real estate. So, here are a few things that you're already doing that is content gold. Client interactions, and this can be anonymized, right? You don't have to necessarily mention people's names, but you're interacting, and that is definitely content gold in some cases. Questions for first time buyers are always asking you, objections that you've learned to overcome in listing appointments, negotiation strategies that have worked really well for you, maybe home inspection issue that came up and how you resolved it. So these are things you're probably already doing and could really be very effective as part of your content marketing strategy. So here's an example of what you could do in chat as a prompt. So here's what the prompt would look like. I just finished a client meeting showing closing. Here are my notes on what happened. So within those brackets, you would just paste in all your notes. And then here's your prompt using my voice profile. And one of the big benefits of using the same AI model again and again is it learns, right? The more information you feed it, the more it learns about what you like, what works, what doesn't work. So, like me personally, I use Claude a lot because I've consistently been feeding it information about what I like, what I create, who I work with, what I do. So it actually knows a lot about my voice, about my marketing voice. So I don't have to feed it as much anymore. So that is a big benefit to using the same AI model over and over again. But you can test them out and see which ones you like. They're all pretty good, but there are benefits to kind of sticking with the same one because you'll find that it's just it's much easier to sort of get what you want because you've already fed it a lot of information. But okay, so once you put in your notes, your description, you would give the AI that instruction using my voice profile, turn this into educational LinkedIn post about the lesson, an Instagram carousel about the process, email newsletter story, short video script. I strongly encourage you all to try this. Next time you have a meeting, whether it be with your team or with a client, maybe, and we do a lot of online meetings now, so it's super easy to get the transcription of those. Paste it in as a description and ask AI to turn that into these things. And you will be blown away by what comes out. You'll see things that you never would have even thought of, connections that you never would have thought of, angles, marketing copy. Like it really is quite amazing the amount of information you can get and the quality of the information you can get from it. So this is something that's super easy to do, and you'll love it. You'll love what comes out. I'll show you in a sec what came out when I did it. I have it up on another screen, so I'll just get through these slides and I'll show you. Um, but again, you want to make sure that you're getting that brand voice. You know, that voice DNA. So you can put in, your top 5 pieces of content, put in those transcripts, ask AI to identify these things: tone, phrases, sentence structure, words that you use frequently, things like that. And then create your voice profile. It's really a very good way to start. Now, LinkedIn, I've sort of become interested in LinkedIn because I feel like it really is probably an underutilized platform for a lot of people. I know that a lot of the advertising that we do tends to be on Google and Facebook and YouTube, not so much LinkedIn. LinkedIn does have an advertising platform. It tends to be a bit more expensive than the others, but I do feel like you can do a pretty good job of positioning yourself as a local expert on LinkedIn. It's just one of those platforms that is specifically for that. So, one of the things that I've been really looking at is how do I use LinkedIn to connect with other real estate professionals. And there is this idea that sort of came up called the business coach blueprint. Like we all know our business coaches, we probably had a few in our time. There's plenty of them out there. But the business coach content strategy, and this has been also adapted for realtors, is the frameworks approach. So, top business coaches tend to teach in frameworks, and you should too. Like, this is just, it's sort of a way of presenting information that can be very compelling and very persuasive. So, examples of frameworks for realtors: the 3 market timing myths. That would be more of a contrarian expertise. Or the 5 question seller readiness test, the home buying triangle: speed, price, perfection. Pick 2. Okay. So these are like hooks. You could call them hooks, but they are also frameworks because you could have Chat GPT or Claude or whatever you're using to um, to create something based on that framework, and that's what you could go ahead and post, right? So here's what the framework post prompt would look like. Create a LinkedIn post that teaches your framework. So maybe it's um, the top 3 mistakes that every home buyer makes, or whatever it is. And then you can give it these points, right? Start with a surprising insight or common mistake. Present the framework with 3 to 5 clear points. Include a real, um, anonymized example from my experience. End with an actionable takeaway. Use my profile voice. There's that profile voice that keeps coming back. Include line breaks for readability. Sometimes you have to tell it to do that, otherwise you just get a big block of text. And then make it 150 to 200 words maximum. And then once you've got that in there, now you're going to get the exact content that you want to post on LinkedIn. And if you really want to be consistent with it, you'll want to have a weekly calendar. Maybe every Monday you're posting market insights. Wednesday's educational framework day. Friday is a client success story, community highlight day. So that's just LinkedIn. But honestly, you could create that type of calendar and say, I'm just going to post some content Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These are going to be the topics, and I'm going to post it on 3 different platforms, right? Maybe I'll have a video that I put on YouTube. I'm going to have something I put on Instagram and something I put on LinkedIn. And then use the LLM, use the AI to take your content, whatever it is. If it's market insights, maybe it's just a PDF with text. Maybe it's you talking for 15 minutes about what's happening in the market. Whatever it is, create some content on that thing and then have AI repurpose it and adapt to all the different profiles for you. So this kind of gets into that content batch creation idea. Um, Extremely helpful. I'll tell you this right now. This has saved me so many times creating content in batches. Um, because you can't underestimate how valuable it is to have 4 weeks of content already laid out for you. Like when the moment comes and you're at your desk focused on doing this, use that time to make the rest of your month that much easier, right? It's like use that time to make every week that follows. It's like I know exactly what I'm going to post because I've already created it. It's already laid out for me. Now you're just copying and pasting, right? You've done your creation. You've spent the time doing that. Now it's just a question of going back to your content project and copying and pasting. So this is another great thing to do is create content in batches. Okay, we've got some time. I'm just going to switch my screen here and get rid of this presentation. I'm going to get into chat because I just want to show you what I was able to do as far as creating my own voice profile. So what I did is I uploaded some transcripts. Okay, I basically took, it says to take your best content, but to be honest, I think all my content is great. I'm just kidding. No, I just didn't have time to really go and judge what was the best, but I grabbed transcripts from about 5 webinars that I've done. And to be fair, actually, they're the most recent ones. So a lot of the content had to do with content marketing and building brand authority and having a consistent voice and being a trusted expert. So that a lot of what I fed into it had to do with that, which is fine because I'm okay with that. So it created this voice profile, and you'll see this was the prompt that I used. It said, analyze these 5 pieces of my best performing content, identify reoccurring phrases, sentence structures, tone patterns, um, unique perspectives or opinions, how I open and close communications, words and phrases I use frequently, la 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 la. Okay, all that stuff. And then I actually hit enter and I didn't paste anything. So that wasn't helpful. Basically told me I'd be happy to do that, but you need to give me some content. And I was like, okay, here's a bunch of links to my YouTube videos. Can you do something with that? No. It came back saying, I appreciate you sharing this, but I'm unable to watch videos and analyze video content. Okay, fine. So then I did what it asked. I uploaded some transcripts, and there we go. So I did get my voice profile, and you guys can tell me if you think this is accurate. Those of you who have been on a few of these. Okay, so based on the 3 transcripts you provided, here's your comprehensive voice profile for future content creation. Core tone patterns, professional yet approachable educator. You strike a balance between expertise and accessibility. You're authoritative without being intimidating, knowledgeable without being condescending. Good. I'm glad. I don't want to be condescending. Conversational and inclusive. You speak with people, not at them. Heavy use of you, we, and direct questions keep audiences engaged as active participants rather than passive listeners. Encouraging but direct. You mix motivation with straight talk. When addressing problems, you acknowledge them plainly while immediately offering solutions. So that's all good. What I found quite interesting, and it gives me a lot of information. I'm not going to read through all this, but I found this unique perspectives and opinions. I found this very interesting and helpful because it gave me ideas of different pieces of content that I can now create using my voice profile and also my unique perspective and opinion. So I've got unique perspectives and opinions on marketing. Definitely an anti-generic crusader. I am adamant that being generic is being forgettable. That is definitely the recurring theme, especially with what I mean. It's all based on what I fed it, right? So that's spot on. Systems over tactics. You constantly, you consistently emphasize that tools without systems are useless. Yes, yes, I do. I'm a big believer in systems and that consistency as non negotiable. You circle back repeatedly to the importance of persistence rather than effort. So, all of this, I think, is like really spot on. And what I decided to do at that point is let's see what I decided to do. So, I fed it another prompt because I wanted to see how I could use this voice profile to create some marketing across various channels. So I asked Claude, in this case, let me see if I can actually make this a bit bigger. That might be easier for you guys to see. I asked it to take this core message, which was the perspective, the unique perspective that I had on technology, and I guess I just chose technology in this case. I didn't put in the marketing stuff, but I wanted to take this core message, um, my thoughts on technology. So actually, practical AI advocates, which I am. You present AI tools as problem solvers, not threats. You give specific use cases. My all-in-one systems preference. I favor integrated platforms over disconnected tools. Automation as liberation. Position automated systems as freeing agents to focus on high-value activities. So that's exactly what I want. I want to use that core message along with this philosophical stance of if it's not easy, it's not going to happen. And how I consistently design around human nature rather than fighting it. We all know this, right? If it's not easy or if it's not enjoyable, chances are it's just not going to happen. So there's no point in fighting it. Let's just work with it and try to create systems for ourselves that make things easier. Okay. So I put in my voice profile, which we've already gone through, my approachability as an educator and all that. And then um, I asked AI to now adapt all that information that I fed it about my own profile and my core message and adapt it for LinkedIn, for Instagram, for TikTok, and for an email. Okay, I wanted 4 pieces of content created for me based on that information that I know about myself and my beliefs and the things that I talk about on a regular basis. And it created it. It created actually some really good stuff. So for the LinkedIn post, this is I mean this is a fair amount of text, to be honest. So maybe this would be something that you would post. I mean, I might choose to shorten this, but it did come up with some really great ideas for content that I probably would not have thought of if I hadn't fed it into the AI platform. And the way that presents it and the tone of it is very familiar to me because I've used this system, this tool, to create content quite often that it does start to sound like my voice, right? So this has become so extremely helpful to me because it allows me to free up my time, my creative energy to do things like this or to actually help people execute these ideas. I'm not sitting there thinking like, "Oh, what's my marketing message for today? Oh, what should I say? Like who can I copy? What can I do?" I'm not copying anybody. I'm generating using AI my own content that comes from my own voice, my own ideas. It's all being generated for me. Then, and sometimes you can even actually even get it to create like a storyboard for you. Like if you had an idea for a video and all you could kind of think about was like a very sketchy outline for it, you put that in and it will actually give you a whole storyboard for that video, including ideas for visuals and graphics and overlays and things like that. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming because you're just like, whoa, like that could be a lot to put together. But if your job is to create a 2-minute video or a 30-minute video, and I'll tell you this from experience, having a blueprint or a storyboard in front of me that I can follow is going to cut my time down tremendously than from me kind of going back and forth and doing this and doing that and trying to like make things fit in and not really having a plan. Um, it can save a ton of time. So anyhow, I mean, these are all things that I just find absolutely fascinating, and I how I like to apply it to our clients is, for one, helping all of you use your website as a tool for sharing your message. I mean, you guys have these websites. We need to drive more traffic to them, but we need to give people a reason to visit the site. And the site is essentially your delivery mechanism. That's what you use to deliver your message. So whether it be video, text, images, listings, blog posts, whatever it is, all should be on your website, right? So that's what we help you with. We make sure that it all gets on there. And then once it's on the site, we have to start driving traffic to it. So if you're posting on LinkedIn, have a link, goes to the website. That's where they can view the full content. Same goes for Instagram, same goes for email, same goes for YouTube. All of these things should be linking back to your website so that people can learn more about what you do. And there are big benefits to having people go back to your website, believe me. Um, in fact, we are kind of working on a method where you can unlock l- traffic leads that are coming to your website. So many of you have visitors coming to the site, they never fill out a form. Well, we now have a way to capture those folks who land on your website, but they do not fill out forms. So, Rob, I know this is kind of last minute, but I'm going to ask you to share that link to the success lead generation offer that we've got. I think I might have it up on my screen somewhere. I will say that this is available to our US clients right now. We don't have this available in Canada, just um, it's only US. But if you're interested in it, we can help you out with it. Actually, I think I found the link. I'm going to post it right here. Yeah. So if you look at that link that I just posted, register.successoffers.ai, onboard leads. So we can essentially unlock 15 to 25% of the traffic that is coming to your website, capture those leads, put them right into the CRM, for $4 per lead. I mean, that's unbelievable that we can generate leads that have valid phone numbers, emails, addresses, $4. So if you're interested in trying this out, you just basically fill out the form, put in your card. You can set the cap. If you only want to generate one lead a day, that's fine. If you want to generate 10 leads a day, that's fine. It's $4. So whatever you feel comfortable with, we can work with that. But there's no harm in trying it. And it just gives you another reason to send more traffic to your website. Like, let's start getting people to the site because we can capture more of them. So this is very exciting. And yeah, hopefully we can get some of you started with that. And yeah, and I'm just going to respond to that one question. It's US only right now. We don't have this technology available in Canada. Hopefully soon, but it is for our US clients. Alrighty. Well, thanks so much, everybody. I've had a lot of fun today. I hope that you've learned something. And thank you, Sobia and Rob, for sticking around and sharing the links. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Please feel free to contact me. My email is Christy at, I'm going to put in the chat here, Christy at successwebsite.com. But I will say that if you are serious about presenting yourself as a local expert in your market, now is the time to develop your voice profile, start that consistent content generation, and start getting it out there. I mean, you will be, I think, very impressed and surprised at how well it works. Let's get more people calling you and turning to you as the local expert rather than you chasing down people who don't know who you are. All right? That is it. That is the message for today. Thank you so much, guys. I look forward to seeing you next time for part 3 of this exciting series. We'll see what we come up with next, but I'm sure it will be interesting. Talk to you guys later.